Hello people and welcome back to our channel. It's us again and we're speaking about the much debated topic, how to speak to landlords. Alright, so again, just like all of our videos, we're not going to waste your time. We're actually going to provide you with clean value, pure value, and make sure that you go away from this actually knowing what to say and how to say it. Alright, to make this simple, what we've done is we've created a 4-step framework. Alright, 4-step framework. You follow these steps, every single time you do it, you will have a yes. Simple as. Is that a good deal though? I'm hoping you said yes to that. Right, so again, let's not waste your time and let's get into step 1, okay?
Alright, so step 1 is your presentation. Simple as, in the simplest way put, okay, again, we don't want to waste your time. The landlord has a 300 grand plus asset and you are looking to take that off him, basically. Take care of that and pay a monthly rent. Take that 300 grand asset off him and take care of it. That's what you're trying to do. Now, I'm gonna ask you, imagine you're a landlord, would you give somebody who's dressed in like a tech fleece a 300 grand asset to take care of, or who speaks slang to you? No, you wouldn't. Like, simple as, you just would not. So you need to make sure you're presented well. This means you need to be dressed correctly, dressed appropriately, dressed smartly for the occasion. You're not meeting a friend, you're meeting a landlord and you're looking to take on his or her property, okay? And you also need to smell nice. It's just a good touch, to be honest. You need to speak well with confidence as well. You don't want to be sounding like you're unsure about yourself. You need to have 100% belief in yourself and you need to know exactly what you want, because if you don't know what you want, the landlord will know what you want. So you need to make that clear when you approach the landlord. And you need to be on time as well. If the viewing's at 3 o'clock, get there at 2:55. Do not get there after 3 o'clock. It is a terrible sign. Why on earth would the landlord treat you with his property when you can't even make it on time? And also, another thing that you want to be doing is you want to be replying to the landlord quickly. So if you're going back and forward via messages, say it's on open rent, for example, with the landlord, do not leave the landlord on delivered, okay? Don't let him marinate or whatever they call it. You need to respond to the landlord as quick as possible, because at the end of the day, you want his asset, his or her asset. The landlord doesn't want anything from you right now. You want that asset, so you need to be the one pushing the needle.
No idea what's happened there with the iPad, but it says marination there, no marination.
But yeah, so that's essentially what we mean when we say presentation, and we hope that makes sense. It should make perfect sense, that, and I hope that you understand that you're taking that 300 grand plus asset from the landlord. You need to be presented well, and I hope I've drilled that point home and that makes perfect sense. That is pretty much it for presentation. So be quick, be confident, say the right things, smell nice, look nice, dress nice, be approachable. Make sure you speak as if, don't sound like a child, basically. You don't want to come across as that you're young and naive, you don't know what you're doing. You need to come across like you know exactly what you're doing, and you have a plan with the property, you have a vision with it as well. And that will get that over the line. And if you were to just go with the next point.
Alright, so just to reiterate that point, you only ever get one first impression, so make sure it counts, alright? Number 2. This is part of the framework now. So the framework part 1 is be presented well and show up correctly. Part number 2 now we actually speak about the tactics that we use to coerce is a strong word, to make sure that landlords bend to our will, okay, and say yes to giving us a property. And that is pain. No, we don't hurt landlords, we don't harm them. What we do though, is we go into their pain, right? So with a landlord, they're going to have certain pains, just like we all do. How can I analogize this for you? When you're at school, your pain is that you don't want to waste your time at school because you want to be outside playing with your friends. When you get to your job, it's like you feel like you don't get paid enough. These are your pains. Every single category of person and niche of person has pains. For landlords, what are their pains? It can be tenant damaging the property, missing rent, short-term tenants, so their tenants don't stay for long. So on and so forth, right? So on and so forth. Maybe they don't like managing it anymore. Maybe they're tired. This is landlord pain. This is exactly what you need to extract at the start of your negotiation. So you present yourself well, you shake his hand, and you make sure that his or her hand, and that you make sure that they like you. Now, once they like you, you want to dig into their pain. Hi, Mr. Landlord. Hi, Mrs. Landlord. How was the last tenant? Why is the property free? What actually is it that what is that so let's say that they're like, oh yeah, they were missing rent, so I had to kick them out. All right, how was that? Was that, how did that feel? I can't even imagine how that would have felt. Dig into that pain, ask questions, make sure they're literally reliving that moment in their head so they understand how bad that previous experience was, okay? And that sounds bad, that probably sounds dark to a certain degree, but it's literally how it's because the overarching principle here is quite simple, right? You want their pain, which is like having bad tenants, to be the exact opposite of their desire, which is that they want a good tenant, a long tenant, someone that pays guaranteed rent, someone that maintains their property. You by the way, and you want, at the end of the day, the pain to be there, pain to be here, desire to be here, and the gap, this little gap in between, is your service, right? It's not a good service if nobody wants it. Why do you buy a football? Right? Because you're going to use it. You need to use it. Why do you buy shoes? Because you're not going to walk outside barefoot. You need shoes, right? It's the same. What you're doing is you're pitching a service. When you're pitching the service, it's only going to be an effective pitch if the landlord actually wants it. And the way you figure out if they want it is if the pain is big enough. Okay? If you can amplify this pain, and as soon as they start talking about it, that's when you need to stop speaking about it. You need to speak about part number 3, which is
their desires. You need to tap into their desires. And what this means is you need to find out their desires. With pain and desires, that is literally sales 101. Like, you need to find out their pain and find out their desires just so you can be the person, as he said, to bridge that gap. So when it comes to desires and pain, for both of them, all you need to do is ask questions. That's the main thing that you need to do. You need to be the person that's controlling the conversation. The person that is controlling the conversation is the one who asks the question. You need to properly dig in, as you were saying, dig into that pain, and then use that pain against him when, or him or her, sorry, when speaking about the desires. For example, if the pain is that the guests were missing rent, not the guests, sorry, like the previous tenants were missing rent, you need to push on the fact that you will never miss rent, and how missing rent is the worst thing ever, literally, in your mind, and how you have a professional company set up, so if you were to miss rent, that would be bad on you anyway, and for you to take on the property and miss rent, just honestly speak as if, like, look down on it, speak as if you never ever could, like, do that ever again. And if his main pain point, the main pain point is the management aspect, you need to tap into that. If they say their main pain point is the rent, and you then go on to explain how you're going to manage the property for them, you understand how that's not gonna sway them. They're gonna be like, okay, cool, like, well done, sort of thing. But you need to find out their pain so you can enhance it also when speaking for their desires, and then the desires will usually come off the back of their pain. So you need to make sure you dig deeply into the desires so you know exactly what they want. How are you going to provide your service, and how are you going to pitch your service when you don't even know what they want? If somebody tells you they want a football, you'll give them a football. If they don't tell you what they want, what are you going to give them? Like, simple as you don't know what they want. So if he is struggling, he or she is struggling with the management aspect, you need to push on the fact that you're going to be the one to manage the property, and how the landlord will never have to step in foot in the property again. All the guest messages, everything will go straight to you. The landlord doesn't even have to touch the property ever again, pretty much. So the main thing about that is the fact that you're finding out exactly what they want on the back of their pain. And the way you do that is by asking questions. So make sure you ask the right questions to find out what they want and make it relevant to the conversation. Don't ask them what they want for Christmas. Ask them what they want from this property and what they want from you taking on the property. And that pretty much sums up all of the desires. The desires could be a range of things, such as rent being paid on time, data management, everything. All the pain points pretty much will in reverse be their desires, and that leads you on to the pitch. So if you just take the pitch. All
right, so another thing that I want to emphasize there that he might have potentially missed, I don't know if he did, but when you're selling and when you're speaking to a landlord, you are selling. So if you don't see it as selling, probably where you're going wrong. When you're selling, it's about them and it's not about you. It's about them and it's not about you. Please remember that, all right? So make sure that that you're like I said, the reason you're going for these pains and desires, which are their pains and their desires, by asking questions, is because you're getting them to speak about them and what they want and their experience. People like speaking about themselves. It is the same with a landlord. They're just a person, right? So he covered desires very well there. Then we're going to speak about the pitch. So this pitch, the question is, when should I speak about rent to rent? When should I speak about that? You speak about it when it's obvious. When does it actually make sense? What's going on with this today? When does it actually make sense? When does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense to pitch it, you haven't built what's called leverage. Leverage is the biggest thing in sales, right? So leverage is like you're controlling the conversation so you can build leverage. You want to control the conversation so you can speak about what you want to speak about to allow leverage to be built. Once you have leverage, it should feel obvious that, oh, the next best solution is to pitch your solution to their problems, which you've been speaking about, right? So that's when you pitch. Don't say Airbnb. I know we call it Airbnb in basically every single video, but that's because that's what the internet calls it, right? We don't, the true method is serviced accommodation. That's what you do. You're in the hospitality sector and you let people stay in your property who need it on a short-term basis. Anything that's below 6 months, basically, right? So do not call it Airbnb. Call yourself a serviced accommodation company, a accommodation company, a corporate accommodation company. You want, basically, this is the biggest advice that we ever got, and the biggest bit of advice I'm ever going to pass down to you right now is that if you make it seem bigger than it is, you will win, okay? What do I mean by that? If you make it seem like you are running a business and that you're wanting to build a franchise and that you want to do X, you want to do Y, you want to do Z, you want to make sure the rent is paid on time, you want to do this, you want to do that, they'll buy into it, because at that point you're selling them a mission. You're not just selling them one unit. If they've got loads of units, they'll think about this whole portfolio being taken by you, and that works, okay? That's what works for us. We spoke about it as a business, and we made sure that we emphasize the fact that we treat it as a business, and because it's a business, we're going to be serious about it and professional about it, because we don't want to fail, and as a result, his property will be perfectly fine. That's what sold us, all right? Obviously, passion, confidence, that also helped, but that was the main content that we said, okay? So pitching is that. You want to speak about how you're a company, and it shouldn't feel difficult. If it feels difficult, you haven't built enough leverage. So pitching should be the easy bit. It should be the bit where you're like, okay, fine, this is what we do, these are your problems, this is what you want, we can make it happen. All you're doing is just threading the needle, putting that little gap, just pitching it, just filling the gap, sorry. So that's your pitch. But now we speak about the bonus, okay? So we give so much value, to be fair. Like, I wish these videos were there when we started, but they weren't, so now we're creating them because in 1 year, 2 year, even a week's time, someone's going to stumble across it and it's going to change their life, right? So that's the whole point of this anyway. Bonus, right? What do we think of bonuses?
First bonus that comes to mind is confidence. This is a massive one. I already spoke about it, and we both actually spoke about it, but you need to be confident. You can't come across like you don't know what you're doing, because the landlord will smell that from a mile away and they'll instantly be turned away from you as soon as you step in there with your soft hand as you shake their hand, and with not even looking in their eye and like saying these wrong words, like I might be able to do this, I'm looking to do that, but I'm not too sure. You need to be affirmative, you need to know exactly what you want and come across that way as well. So that would be the first one from me. Really good.
And also, just back on confidence, if you don't even believe it, why would the landlord believe it? The way that everything literally works in this world is that one person initially believes it and then everyone believes it. That's typically how things work. That's how it will need to be in your business as well. You will need to be convinced that you can help that landlord, and then the landlord, as a result, will be convinced. Okay? So confidence is big. Gifts. Who doesn't like gifts? Landlords are people. Landlords have 5, 10 viewings in a day. Landlords have other people pitching them rent to rent. Why are you any different? I don't care how good you think you look. You need to give them a gift or something like that. It's how you would differentiate yourself, right? So, I don't know. Try figure something out. Try oh God, what the hell's up with it? The light switched off. Is rent due? Anyway, just go walk about. Switch back on. Anyway, there we go. Right, motion censored lights. Anyway, you need to bring them gifts, biscuits, chocolates, like alcohol, whatever you think will feel. You should be giving a gift to basically anyone when you go to the house. Anyway, landlord's no different. When you're going there, you need to give them a gift. They need to remember you, right? When they eat those biscuits later, or when they drink that wine later, they will remember that you gave it to them, and then you'll become I guess you could say that on top of that pile of cards, you'll be the top card basically. So gifts are really important, and emails. What do I mean by emails? What we did was we emailed loads of different companies around the investment area where we were looking to go, and then got them to basically say that they did have people that were coming in. So let's say it was in Leicester, they had people that were coming in from like Wolverhampton or London or whatever, and those people needed temporary accommodation. That's where our business comes in. We provide temporary accommodation. So we basically had proof of demand through emails. We showed it to the landlord, and he was like, okay, right, so you've got so many people that are knocking down and want to stay with you, so you have a property, no problem. Not an issue at all. Another thing is sign-on bonuses. I don't know if any of you play FIFA, but when you're like doing career mode or whatever and you're signing a player, sometimes they ask for like 500 grand on up, you know, to sign them. Whatever. Landlords, they usually don't ask for it, but it'll be very helpful. Imagine you saying, I'm gonna guarantee your rent, and I'll give you £200 if you just say yes. Why would they say no? You're the best. You're the best in that deck of cards, and it's only cost you £200 to make £1,000 worth of profit every single month. It sounds worth it to me. Would you pay 200 for £1,000 every single month?
I'd most definitely do that.
So there you go. It's a very small step back for a big step forward. Of course, only do that once they've actually signed. Don't pay 200 up front, but once they've signed, of course, do that. That's a big thing that you can do. So is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that's spot on, to be honest. I think the emails was the biggest one that I was thinking about, and that's pretty much the most important one. That's exactly what sold the first landlord as well. So that would be the main point that you need to like sort of take into account when thinking of the bonuses. But yeah, other than that, that is all you will need when speaking to landlords. If you follow that exact structure, so the presentation, the pain, the dream/desire, and then the pitch, and you add a bonus as well, or add all 4 of them bonuses, you will 100% get that property. Like, there's no doubt that if you keep trying that over and over again, you perfect it, you will have a set of keys in your hand, a 100% guaranteed. So make sure you take advice and you made notes in this video and you use this the next time you speak to a landlord, and you'll see so much more success.
I'm telling you right now, if you use this, you'll be having more keys than you can imagine, more profit than you can imagine. Just let us know down below if that was helpful, and let us know what else we can do. All right, see you in a bit.